A city on wheels, built in days, gone in weeks. They called it hell on wheels. Saloons in tents, brothels under canvas, gambling tables on dirt floors. The town followed the rails west. 2,000 miles of iron across a continent, 6 years of powder and picks. 2 companies, 2 directions, 1 finish line. The race began in 1863. Before the railroad, crossing America took months. Wagon trains, 6 deaths per mile on the Oregon Trail. Families starved in mountain passes. The Union Pacific built west from Omaha. Irish immigrants, Civil War veterans, men who'd seen worse than snowdrifts and empty plains. They laid track across Nebraska, flat land, muscle work. A mile of rails per day when weather held. Hell on wheels moved with them. North Platte swelled to 3,000 overnight. Tent city. Whiskey sold faster than bread. Dance halls opened before general stores. The town packed up when the rails moved on. Canvas came down. Wheels turned. 20 miles west, new dirt, same chaos. Charles Crocker ran the Central Pacific from Sacramento. His problem wasn't plains. It was mountains. The Sierra Nevada, 7,000 feet of granite between him and Utah. White workers quit for Nevada silver mines. Crocker tried Chinese. 50 at first. They moved more dirt per day than anyone expected. By 1865, he had 10,000, 90% of his workforce. They earned $35 a month. White workers earned $40. Chinese bought their own food. White workers ate for free. The Chinese worked in crews of 30. 1 cook, 1 water carrier, 28 with picks. They blasted rock face, hung in woven baskets off cliffs, lit fuses, got hauled up before the blast. Sometimes the rope pulled too slow. Fall 1865. The Central Pacific began cutting 15 tunnels through the Sierra Nevada. Summit Tunnel was the worst. Tunnel number 6, a mile above sea level, solid granite. Black powder barely scratched it. Crews drilled holes 20 feet deep, filled them, blasted, moved 8 inches per day. At that rate, the tunnel would take years. A chemist mixed nitroglycerin on site. Unstable, dangerous. Crews handled it like water in jars. 1 slip meant death. It cut through granite faster. The price was paid in bodies. Winter hit November 1866. 44 storms in 4 months. Snow piled 18 feet at the summit. Drifts blocked tunnel entrances. Chinese crews dug snow tunnels to reach the work. They lived under the snow, worked under the snow. Some never saw daylight for weeks. Avalanches came without warning. Entire crews buried. Spring melt revealed the bodies. Families in Canton received letters. Your son is not returning. No details, no compensation. June 1867. 3,000 Chinese walked off the job at Summit Tunnel. Organized, calm. They returned to camps. No violence, no threats. Demands were simple. 10-hour days instead of 11. 8-hour shifts in tunnels. $40 a month. Same as white workers. Charles Crocker called it a mystery. James Strobridge thought opium dealers caused it. Neither understood. The strike was planned. Representatives spoke for the crews. Central Pacific cut food supplies. No rice, no tea, no deliveries to camps. 8 days later, the Chinese returned to work. Demands unmet. Strobridge later admitted surprise. With white workers, it would have been impossible to control. The Chinese stayed peaceful throughout. Summit Tunnel broke through August 1867. 15 months of drilling. 1,659 feet of granite conquered. The Chinese had won against the mountain, not against the company. Out of the mountains, the race accelerated. Central Pacific crossed Nevada. Open desert. No water for 40 miles. Crews carried barrels on flat cars, laid track in heat that bent rails before they were spiked down. Union Pacific pushed harder. Each company earned land grants per mile of track. Money from Congress, $32,000 per mile. Neither wanted to stop. Grading crews from both companies passed each other going opposite directions. Neither would yield territory. Congress set the meeting point. Promontory Summit, north of Salt Lake, April 1869. Central Pacific made a final push. 10 miles of track in one day, April 28th. 560 rails, 3,200 ties, 25,000 spikes, 12 hours of work, a record that still stands. Union Pacific matched the pace. Crews worked through nights, ties laid by torchlight. By May, both companies approached Promontory. May 10th, noon. 2 locomotives faced each other. Jupiter from the west, number 119 from the east. 600 people watched. Leland Stanford held a silver hammer, a golden spike, wired to telegraph lines. When the hammer struck, the nation would hear. Stanford swung, missed the spike. The telegraph operator sent the signal anyway. June. The crowd cheered. Champagne broke over ties. Photographs taken. Engineers shook hands. Not one Chinese worker attended. 10,000 built the western half. None were invited to the ceremony. They were 60 miles away, pulling up temporary track, laying permanent rail, working. The railroad cut travel time from 6 months to 6 days, coast to coast. Letters that took weeks arrived in days. Freight that rotted in wagons stayed fresh. Hell on wheels towns died or transformed. Cheyenne became Wyoming's capital. Promontory became a ghost town within months. The meeting point no longer mattered. Trains ran through, didn't stop. Chinese workers dispersed. Some stayed, built 70 more railroads across America. Others returned to Canton, sent wages home. 15 years of work for family land. The Big Four became legends. Stanford founded a university. Huntington built libraries. Crocker owned railroads from California to New Orleans. They made fortunes. Chinese crews made $35 a month. 1,000 Chinese died building the railroad, maybe more. No accurate count was kept. Avalanches buried some. Explosions took others. Bodies were shipped back to China when possible. Most stayed in unmarked graves along the route. The Transcontinental Railroad connected a nation, made fortunes, built cities, transformed commerce. It was constructed by men who were never photographed, never celebrated, never invited to the Golden Spike ceremony. In 1882, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. The same men who built America's railroads were banned from entering the country. The law stayed in force for 60 years. Today, the route still runs. Promontory Summit is a national park. The Golden Spike sits in a museum. Tunnel 6 through the Sierra Nevada remains. Chinese crews cut it by hand. 15 months underground. The railroad was called the greatest engineering feat of the 19th century. It was built with picks and powder. The men who swung the picks earned half wages. The mountain didn't care. They cut through anyway.